abandoned it.
We are live.
All right.
I didn't do it. Sorry.
Wait, there is a cop in the show. Retired cop. So, hello, this is Tom from Tabletop Tap Room. This is our first Fireside Chat, and I have with me two esteemed other vloggers from YouTube. We have Erik Tenkar.
It's overrated. Way overrated, folks. Way overrated.
Yeah. I like your rating better than mine. You're monetized. And we have Vlog of Many Things with Don Samora and Wizard Tower Games. And we're here to talk about a topic that has been brewing. And I thought I would open up with first, about 3 weeks ago, I blew up in the live chat on Erik's channel on a Friday night.
What blew up is just such a understatement. No. You reacted as anybody would react if there were accusations being made about them or their friends. I just had to be professional because I wasn't paying attention. If I was paying more attention to the chat, I could have reacted. So
yeah. So I just want to say, when Joe the lawyer called me out and was like, "Hey guys, maybe not here," I just want to apologize. And Joe was right. He was right to call me out, and so I instantly realized, ooh, I got really triggered here, and need to cool it. And so the minute he called me out, I was done with it, and immediately dropped it. But that led to a revelation of I unfortunately revealed information that had been kept secret for a long time. And so that kind of led to this Fireside Chat that we've delayed until this week. For some reason, it might have been some sort of legal thing going on this week. But
you ripped the Band-Aid off a festering wound that wasn't properly healing. So, I mean, listen, what happened was certainly not planned. But then again, you can't plan incidents like that. If you could, you'd be you'd be a being on a higher level.
Well, maybe we should explain what that festering wound was to the community. Because I announced on the title of this movie that there was this movie. We're not there yet doing movies on this vlog. That we would be talking about a secret cabal. And would either one of you like to take the ball and explain what the secret cabal was?
I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
The cabal was created as a four-way chat between myself, Erik, Tom, and Michael Hovermail. And it was designed to be a place that the four of us could go have very private, isolated discussions about a myriad of subjects. And to ensure that because there was, it wasn't a large group, it would be very tightly contained, very tightly controlled, and very confidential. Because, we talked about a myriad of subjects, but also we went ahead and we talked about private things too, just, personal private things. So that's what the cabal was. And I believe it was, I think it was Tom titled it The Secret Cabal, a cabal of friends, a group of friends who sat down and used it as a place to kind of talk, vent, and talk business, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And there was a lot of, actually, it was just kind of a lot of open sharing between the four of us. I just kind of felt like it was a good place to just kind of bitch, complain. Hey, I think sometimes you actually posted links and, hey, would you guys take a look at this? and give me a critique on it. Don, I think your World War II prototype, was posted in there before it was ever posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so that was, it was just a good place to communicate. And it had the unfortunate name of being called the Secret Cabal, partly because we were also discussing somebody who should not be named, since Erik still has legal.
Yeah, we were talking about Voldemort and everything, and so
Right.
Yeah.
Name Voldemort. We code name Voldemort. Everybody knows who that is. But it then some evidence developed that one person was talking to Voldemort directly, and
sadly.
So this evidence came. I don't even know if we want to reveal that source. I think we have to protect that source. Would you agree?
I mean,
I don't want to. I don't want to.
I guess it's not really even a source. I mean, I guess to be fair, all right, because I imagine this is either going to be met with either a "I fucked up" or a "fuck you, you're lying," or whatever, So I think I'll just put it out there bluntly, is I forget where I read it at, but I read a long time ago that, and Erik can probably confirm this, and maybe even Erik talked about it, but, law enforcement agencies sometimes will use the tactic, if they're trying to find out in a group of people if someone is releasing information they should not, they will sometimes say things that are really off the wall or very, very oddly unique that are not true. And they will just let that information be released to a very select amount of individuals and see if it comes out. And usually, give a good example. If my septic tank is leaking, they're going to dump a bunch of colored dye in the septic tank. And then they're going to run around and they're going to see where that dye is coming out in the yard. There's where the leak's at.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much what you do, and and sometimes you got to do it more than once to confirm exactly where it's coming from.
So I think I'll take up the ball here a little bit. We heard this information that somebody was talking, somebody who's obviously not here in this live stream, was talking to Voldemort. And I could tell, Don, that you were kind of hurt because you've been close to this individual. So I went ahead and poked the bear, and I did that post, and I can throw this up on the screen. I did this particular post, and let's switch to this, where I had I spun this story, and you guys actually knew the truth, where I said that I got something explosive, an interview with someone in Voldemort's family, some big time explosive revelations about racism and statements about WotC and his scams. It's so big. I sent the unlisted link to Rainwater. Her assistant just asked me not to go public with it, so I'm holding it till close to the trial. But this is some seriously good stuff on Voldemort. I can't believe I got this. It took 3 months of sucking up to get it. And this got us a fairly instant reaction. Within 48 hours, I had some anonymous emails. And, so that was our first confirmation that this story was actually correct. That, with the concerning this leak going straight to Lanassa. And the anonymous email actually specifically targeted this whole fake story that we ran. Well, I ran it, about that I had a source within Voldemort's family talking to me. And so that we actually did. I did this 3 times. There were 3 different times, and I have a bunch of anonymous emails from that month, as well as one troll account named Rod Cooper that was coming in.
Rod?
You remember Rod Cooper?
I remember Rod Cooper.
Rod Cooper was an interesting one because Rod Cooper first came in, was mildly antagonizing towards Lanasa. So I even fell for it. He did a friend request with me, and I had a one-on-one chat with Rod. And he was like, yeah, I seen what he's done to you. You know, he's effed you guys over, yada, yada, yada. And one of the things that really keyed me on in that initial chat with Rod, and this is when I went to you guys,
right?
Also with it was, in talking with Rod, Rod mentioned something that happened in Discord, but happened in a 3-way me, Mike, and Voldemort chat that was private. That rung a bell, and it caused me to go back to my transcripts that I have, and I started scrolling down, and sure enough, it pinged it. And, I'll be the first to say here, guys, I'm just going to say this for the record. This whole Voldemort bullshit is just so soul-sucking and draining and emotionally draining.
Of course.
And just has caused so much collateral damage.
Yes.
Your daughter was attacked and your wife was attacked, Tom. Erik, your wife was attacked and you were personally attacked. I mean, you even got a physical, we joked that we joked that it was fake elephant shit, but the presumption that gets me is this, and this is what bothers me, is it was sent though with the assumption that it was real.
Right.
It turns out now Scott Griffith got him sent the same thing. Me, my daughter, autopsy photos, which was not of her, but it's just this. How can you stand by anybody who would do those things to people that you call friends?
Exactly.
How can you stand by anybody who do those things to people you call enemy even?
Yeah.
Right. So sorry, go on. I'm just kind of, I'm on a side tangent.
You're good.
You are expressing our thoughts extremely well. Folks, just to put a little perspective to this, like the term Secret Cabal was like an inside joke, but it was because there was a bond, right? And the bond was we were all being effed with or screwed with or enemies of the certain individual that should not be named. And that was what brought us together. And that was, it was something that we could, share about and
it was essentially a supportive text chain.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
It was a support group, right?
Yes, that's basically what I'm saying,
Yeah. But when somebody from within, and it really becomes within, for whatever,
when someone violates the confidentiality, all bets are off. It undermines the whole thing.
Well, here and here's the thing: do we know why the change? Why the focus of at least of the one individual changed from "you're my friends, we're compadres" to I have to do my work as worm tongue. I don't know where that line got crossed, and it's a shame. I'll be honest with you, it's a shame. So, yeah.
This is from April. This was a post that individual made from April. In that group, where he said, "Please, none of you ever doubt. I always have your back and respect. I just show it in a little old school sometimes."
Hold on a second. Let me remove that knife from my back. That's right below my head.
And I'll clarify something here, real up front. Back when I first met you and Erik, I met you and Erik back when I was just at the tail end of my dealing with Voldemort. I'm talking about communication wise. And, my first communication with Erik was he sent me a very pointed email saying, A, B, C, D. You want to answer these questions? Keep in mind, I have been spoon-fed for months that Erik was pretty much Satan and a liar and a bad guy, and he'll F you over in a flat. Big time. Well, then I get a message by Tom in Facebook. Same thing. Got a few questions for you, and it was immediate in just those brief back and forth conversations that no, you guys were not this way. You guys were not interested in just laying out salacious bullshit. You guys wanted to really figure things out and find out the truth. And that's why I started communicating initially with Erik, because I also tested Erik, and I'll put it blunt out here. I sent Erik a response to it saying, here's answers to your questions. I'd prefer that you respect my privacy and look into this before you just go for, I forget my wording, but basically I was saying, look, if you're looking for just views, then post it. But if not, and I figured being an ex-cop, he had a little bit of integrity. At least I hoped he did. And he demonstrated it. And the same thing with you, Tom. Again, I'll say it out loud. I mean, you guys could have taken this a very dramatically different way with me. You guys could have just ran with what you heard, what you saw on the face of everything. And I appreciate the fact that the both of you went ahead and said, wait a minute here. It's obvious that something's not right here. Something doesn't mesh.
Well, I mean, dude, I was getting anonymous email that was dropping me information about you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, by the way, folks, just so you all know, my sources, and I do have sources, none until I ran into Don ever dropped me anonymous information. Yeah. Everybody came up and said, whether it was stuff dealing with big or small, whether it was stuff that was, in some cases, they themselves were personally entangled in crap. Nobody was anonymous with me except somebody sending me information about Don. And that by itself got me thinking, why anonymous? Why can't, if you're going to make accusations about somebody and not stand behind them, then it means a hell of a lot less to me. It means something. It means there's something that, in my opinion, it was about control. It was about putting Don, push him into a corner. I think that was the expectation, and I think that I didn't play into the expectation, but I don't often play into expectations. So
no, what you did is you sent me an email that was blunt, to the point. You asked your questions. None of your questions based on the time and the situation, none of them were unfair, really. Right. And so I threw it out there at you, and you could have read into it. You could have twisted what I said. You could have bullshitted and lied even, but you didn't. What you did is you did your video and you actually did it in a very fair way. And I remember my wife, my wife, Tina, she watched your video because she's really protective of it. My wife's very protective of me, She watched it and she said, no, don't believe, Voldemort. There's something about him. He's trustworthy.
Wow.
And I was like, I go to my wife a lot. My wife is a very good, and my wife, don't get me wrong, there's many times my wife will grab me by my collar and pull me back and go, sir, that school teacher in her. I mean, she has no problem doing that too. But it was also kind of like the same thing with Tom, though. And see, this is the kicker here. When you're fair with people, it doesn't matter what your reputation is. When you're fair with people, the people that matter will figure it out, and the people that matter will figure it out and get to the bottom of it. It's easy to spread rumors, but that's exactly what has been happening here. Is this anonymous email? Never. Chad's revenge Chad, Mario, 5 different Mario accounts. It's always this behind the scenes, and you start comparing them. And I'm sorry, 1 + 1 = 2. I don't care how you spin it. But with these yokers, man, it always equals like 4 and 5, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
if you pay attention.
That's George Orwell, 1984. 2 + 2 = 5.
Yeah.
And it always has, and it always will, until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. I just want a little correction. We actually met via phone call when I was first beginning to vlog, and I was investigating Justin Lanassa. I called you, and I was trying to get information out of you, so I was kind of shading the truth a little bit. And about halfway through the phone call, I was like, you know what? Don feels like a straight shooter to me. And so I ended the phone call rather than push.
Was it a phone call?
Yeah, it was a phone call.
Oh, I thought it was that initial Facebook PM where you were asking me.
No, there was a phone call. I actually called you.
I remember the call.
I actually called you, and and I could hear your voice, and I was like, this guy feels like a straight shooter to me. I don't think he really knows what Lanassa is all about. And it was about the time you got that threat email that the FBI were supposed to investigate, but nothing ever came of that. Yeah. It was another anonymous email. And at that time, we didn't have the pattern of all these anonymous emails and troll accounts, because this guy's a coward. Voldemort's basically a coward, and he hides behind.
Yeah, because I jumped on that. I backed TSR huge on that. I made a special press release saying we are standing by TSR hobbies and everything. But on the back end, looking back at it now, I was a fool. I admit it. You know what I mean? I mean, I was a dumbass. But it's amazing how you look back at those events and you can see how you were pushed into doing it. Like, oh, you need to stand by us. You need to make this. You need to make a press release. So, yada, yada, yada. And that was back when the whole thing with, Luke was on the payroll of, no, Luke is the front man for Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast gives Luke Gygax the money, and Luke pays you, Erik, and you, Tom, and all these other people, thousands of dollars to attack TSR because Wizards of the Coast is afraid of what TSR will become again.
$1 billion company is afraid of a company that had a revenue this year reported of $620.
But back then was talking about already have sold $250,000 worth of games.
Yeah, that's not reported in the bankruptcy.
No, it's not, is it?
No, strangely.
Yeah.
Wait, $250,000? What game?
$250,000. $250,000.
That would have been on Tails and Tots and something Zawa by Ernie Gygax Jr.
Not the I'm a Pizza or.
Oh yeah, Pizza Cheese.
I'm a Pizza Cheese. The kid's book that's printed off of a photocopier, bent over and stapled.
$250,000.
Okay.
I guess so.
Wow.
That sounds like a certain Johnson.
And I will just say one thing, just as a side note. That dollar amount for that first year sales sure as hell doesn't match the data dump of credit card transaction that was sent to me.
Oh, really?
Dang.
I was curious about that because I thought that amount from the first year. I was actually just finishing up listening to the recording of it today, and the trustee camped on the money amounts, and then he brought up the Indiegogo, and I'm thinking, yeah, the Indiegogo had to be a part of that 17,000 they claim they made the first year.
But if you listen, well, you were there. Remember what the trustee did, and he harped on it even. He asked him, did you have any pre-sale sales? And he said no. And the trustee asked him 4 separate times, are you sure you didn't have any things on pre-sale? You didn't do any pre-sale based sales on your web? None at all. Really? Dungeon Crawl, pre-sale.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the majority of his credit card transactions that he data dumped on me. That I got a threatening email saying that if I release those credit card transactions, I'm in violation of blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm sure now that there's going to be depositions done, I'm sure that I'll be subpoenaed for them. And when I'm subpoenaed, I'll have to turn them over.
And then they'll become public record.
Shit happens.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, you probably want to redact part of the credit card number.
This is what I have to do is if I get a subpoena, so like with Wizards of the Coast, when you get a subpoena, what you need to do is if you're going to have information that has sensitive information, people's credit card numbers, people's, their 3-digit codes on the back of their cards, expiration dates, or even their names, they don't deserve to have that out there. So what I would do is I would actually have my attorney at that point handle that directly with the trustee, because what you need to do is when you submit that information, you're supposed to submit it in 2 versions. You have an unredacted version for use by the court, and then you have a redacted version that protects the confidential and personal information within the document. Because as we have all found out in the last 40 or 72 hours, if you just data dump to the bankruptcy court, they're going to go ahead and display it all the way it is.
So you're saying that data dumping, I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm sorry. It's really, really rough. I mean, because here's the thing. Once you enter evidence into a court, and I say this with an ironic smile, it is evidence. There's no give backs. You can't say, oh, shit.
It's already out there for days now.
Well, that's the other thing, too. Once it's a public record, guess what? Even
It's
if
public
you
record.
pull it back, there's now an infinite number of the original out there because it's public record. And when it comes to situations like what's going on now, it becomes an important public record. And everybody and their mama is going to snag a copy, and you can claw it back, and then you can redact it, and you can take out incriminating stuff that you feel maybe I should have started at a certain date and ended at another date. But
and in all fairness, let's also say in all fairness, any vlogger, blogger, YouTuber with any grain of integrity would themselves redact like phone numbers and emails, to be fair, or sensitive information. The problem is there's just a lot of people that have no integrity, and they're going to blast it all over. That's why with this whole credit card issue, with the data dump that was done on me, that I got accused of lying about. For the record, I was openly accused of photoshopping all of this.
Amazing how you could get so many credit card numbers.
Photoshop skills.
Holy, I mean,
you know what? If I had the Photoshop skills that he has accused me of,
you'd be employed by Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, keep in mind, just like in the hearing we all heard, Photoshop, you're lying. I'll get that to you at a later date. It'll be shown later on.
Yeah, later.
I mean, come on. You can't even remember what state that an NDA was signed in, and then you're going to go ahead after you're pushed on it. Oh, wait a minute. I have the out.
You don't even know if you got a loan or not.
Well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just say instead that Hovermail handled it digitally, and Hovermail deleted the server. Only problem with that is, this is the problem. For Hovermail to have handled to begin with and given it to Justin, Justin has to have some type of digital footprint that Michael sent it to him.
Mm-hmm.
How did Hovermail give it to Lanasa? And not only that, but
Voldemort.
Who witnessed it? Yeah, sorry, Voldemort.
Oh, be brave. Even in Harry Potter, they stopped saying Voldemort.
Well, yeah, Eric is
Eric will refer to him as Voldemort.
We don't want.
Yeah,
He's the unknown troll that comes on.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no clue who the hell is controlling.
Okay.
Right.
Now let me just, since you mentioned that, I was feeling really bad about my blow up because it unmasked Hovermail as being the leak to Lanassa. I called him out in the live stream. I mean, we really went at it. And, you know, I was feeling bad about that. And then all of a sudden, because I don't want anything to do with Lanassa, and he's laid low this whole time and been like the silent member of the cabal while he was
for literal months. Let's just be honest.
Right.
For months. Literally for months would just come and say, "Hey guys, I'm really busy. Guy's an asshole," and then be gone. I mean, that was literally the content.
Or he'd come in again, he's like, "Oh, I've been really busy. Did I miss anything? Is there anything going on that I need to know about?"
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gone.
Well, what you all may not be aware of is that at one point he privately asked me if he could have everything I had on Lanassa, and I gave it to him. I gave him all. I went through and I put together a package, and I says, "Yeah, this is everything I got on Lanassa." He said because he wanted to fill in some holes and burn it to a disc, and then and throw the disc in a drawer and just have it for just in case. And I thought, it seems reasonable because he's part of the secret cabal. Yeah, I gave him everything, almost everything, not quite everything, but almost everything. Like I think that there was a big data dump, Eric, you shared with me a long time ago, and like that, I don't think I shared that, but I went through and I just post and all the. And, and I look back now and I'm like, I got played. I can own that. I got played. But I was feeling bad about it because there's been a change now. And all of a sudden he put himself in as a creditor. And as I was listening to the recording today, over and over and over again, Lanassa kept saying, Voldemort kept saying that because you were questioning Don when you were questioning him about the NDA.
Yeah.
And he was refusing to answer the most simplest questions.
Yeah.
And then the trustee was like, "No, I want to hear the answer. Mr. Lanassa, please answer the question." And he kept going to Michael Hovermail handled the NDA. So Michael Hovermail handled the NDA. It must have been 3 or 4 times he said that. And I'm like, nobody went, and I think he thought that somebody would ask Michael, "So did you handle the NDA?" And that he would validate it then and there, but nobody did. And Michael certainly didn't volunteer that information. But Michael wasn't there to be questioned. Voldemort was there to be questioned.
But Michael could have, after Lanassa pointing the finger at him, more importantly, Michael could have then also spoke up and said, "I do have one follow-up question or statement to make, and that is, for the record, no, I did not."
He could have come out with that. He could have come out.
Yeah, he could have meant that.
Right. So I was thinking, I was having this realization as I was listening through it that they started a new play to put Michael in play to validate the NDA. The forged NDA that was submitted to the WotC case concerning you. And I was feeling bad about that till I really started digging into that data dump of the text messages between Voldemort and Hovermail. 250 pages of that data dump. And as I dug in there, I was like, oh my God, this is just crazy good material. But
nuggets. A lot of shit.
We have since found out that he didn't think that would be public.
Mm-hmm.
We've since found out that he's like now trying to retract it, and he's now sending paperwork to the trustee to ask him to take it.
Let's be honest. If you do a data dump like that, 257 pages of text messages, without any commentary, without telling the trustee where to look at, you are simply data dumping to, I got 257 pages of text messages. Look, it proves that I was an employee, because who the fuck text messages that much? The guy's in the random party generator later on tonight, folks. 8 p.m. in my channel. they fucking text messages like that, I have to silence that channel because I will never get sleep. It goes. So yes, people do text messages that much, and they're not getting paid for it. All right, it doesn't prove anything. And I didn't see anything in there besides Michael giving himself titles that says, "Hey, yeah, you could be main chicken plucker. We don't care whatever title you want.
So
Nothing says you're getting paid."
But see, this is the thing. Whenever you submit a claim, like with mine, which I don't know why mine is not public yet. I sent a cover letter explaining my stance along with my invoices. I went ahead, I submitted a 29 exhibit PDF, and all of them were labeled Exhibit Wizard Tower Games Exhibit 1, the image or the document, and then a note down below it explaining the validity or how it affected or how it comes into play regarding my claim.
Right.
That way, Don made this claim, Wizard Tower Games said A, and he has B and C to back that up in a logical and easy to follow manner. Data dumping 260 something, almost 260 pages of text messages is sort of like what Lanasa did in his affidavit with the Watsy case, in that he just data dumped. He dropped as his affidavit part of it the entire Star Frontiers New Genesis raw game and said, "This is what the situation is." What is this trustee supposed to do? Manually read all 257 pages?
They're not going to, but guess who will?
Oh yeah.
You inadvertently, Michael just assigned to the community, "Hey, do you want to crowdsource a search for gold and silver in this 257-page document that's freely available? And then we can send stuff to the trustee and say, hey, on page 202, it says X, and on page 4, we get a definition of the relationship between A and B." And it's like, wow, holy shit. So, because you don't, in this day and age, you don't need the trustee to do that, right? And actually, the trustee will not catch a lot of stuff that the community will catch, because the community already knows, right?
Yeah,
the community knows the language. The community knows what's going on, what's being discussed.
And we have a few lawyers in the community. I want to point out Kim Winson is a law student, even though he's in a foreign country. He has been a great resource. I want to give Kim Winson a lot of praise here. A great resource. He's been, look, common law says this, because I don't know how it is in America, but this is how it is in common law. He has been a tremendous resource, and I really appreciate what he's done. He deserves a shout out.
Yeah, he's been helpful for us too in understanding certain things.
Yep. So
thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. I don't say it enough. I say it now.
It's a simple argument. It's a basic argument. Erik owes me this. Here's a document. Let's say it's a 267-page document. I send backing it. But within my Erik owes me this, I say on page 24, line 14, highlighted, we'll back this up. So we'll pay, and you at least spell it out as some type of pathway for them to follow. But it's sort of like what my attorney said about the whole Voldemort filing. When they do that, when people do that, like when Voldemort did that with the federal court, they're doing it to confuse and to muddle the water. They're doing it to impede the process, is what they're doing. Because they know it's not going to be read. So they can then claim what they want inside of, at the time, oral arguments, that if they're going to rely upon the other party then to say, well, that's a lie, and the judge is going to say, how is it a lie? And it's just it's designed to impede and confuse.
Right.
So no, this shit is not amateur hour. Take some fucking advice, call a lawyer, do it right or don't do it, because you're going to do nothing but hurt yourself.
I feel like that's common sense, though, to sort of lay out your argument and the exhibits that go with it.
Right, and there's no. I still don't understand why you would take 257 pages and data dump it and hope that you're proving to a trustee that it's worth $58,000.
Throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
Listen, I didn't bother to look at it. I didn't bother to redact phone numbers or email addresses or anything that might actually dock somebody. And oh my God, the amount of information in here that's probably damaging to certain people, including the submitter, is beyond. But you know what? Here, take it all. You read it. You figure it out. I'm not even going to tell you where to look to prove. All you have to say is, "Oh, look on page 2, and it'll show you my titles." It doesn't even do that.
So rumor has it he panicked when he found out that it was public.
Oh my God!
And then everybody was sharing it and reading it. And
well, there should be a little bit of panicking happening because giving up the phone numbers, emails of Mike Carr. Mike Carr and Tim Kask and Frank Metzer, Jim Ward,
Larry Elmore.
Yeah.
A good dozen TSR.
Oh my God. Wow.
And some guy named Zach. I've got his phone number out of that.
Not a Zach that I know, but hey, reach out and we can talk.
I'm going to call him. Hey, did you know you got doxxed? Put your phone number and name or put in the public record. It was by Michael Hovermail. Would you care to comment on that? How do you know Michael Hovermail? I'm going to make a phone call. Do my due diligence. But so you've got all of that, but he did take the time to redact that 250 pages. I've got at least 20 pages that I've flagged, and I've only read up to page 90. And I've flagged a list of 20 pages where there are redactions where because it's black print on white, he has whited out lines of comment by him. So you get a line because it's single space. So you get a line and you get white space, which is unusual. Then you get another line from him and something's been redacted. And there's 20 pages of that where he redacted something he said, which makes me very curious to go, all right, that was on that day. What was happening in the community? What can I find on Facebook? What can I dig up? So I will be doing. I'll probably be following up my my vlog series on the bankruptcy with. We'll just keep it going with this 250-page document.
Mm-hmm.
Simply amazing.
It's sad, is what it is. It's sad. It is sad when you are friends with somebody, deeply friends with them, and you talk with them every day almost, and you entrust them with things, and then you find out that this is happening. It's just.
Well, and Kim makes a good point here. He says it's also incomplete because he hasn't included all the images. Yeah, it was like a download of what the texts were. And some of those texts, I think, were three-way texts, and the images are gone. So yeah, it is incomplete, but my God, I mean, you have him in there making poetry and mocking Jeff Duck Leeson, who was having, mental issues. Oh. And, they're mocking him. And then Justin's like, yeah, I'm going to put a buffet on at TSR Con, and it's just going to be duck this and duck that and duck this and duck that served. I mean, it was just absolute.
But you know what the beautiful part about all this is? It really just shows, like the things I've shown you guys and told you guys about his conversations, how he felt about Duck. It just validates it. It as bizarre as I sounded, it validates that all. And that's the part this is the other part that I don't get is what is it about those three initials, TSR, that people are willing to let go of their integrity. They're willing to sit there and let go of, their morals, and they're willing to just like Ernie. Why is Ernie, besides the fact that Ernie was an investor and so was Duck. Why does Ernie allow his brother to be attacked at the level that his brother was attacked?
Yeah.
So he can go to the museum and do what? Walk around in a building that his father walked around in. I respect the fact that he loves his dad.
Yeah,
You know, I respect the fact that he wants to be a part of this. But like Luke has already done, Ernie can also, like Luke, honor his father's legacy by doing something different and still maintain that legacy in an honorable and honest way.
Yes.
But Ernie doesn't. Ernie just trashes his brother and kicks it and partners up with an individual who actively has tried to destroy his brother and by proxy destroy his father's legacy
Right.
in his father's name.
Yes. Well, I think the context of those text messages, because early in 2021, you see this animosity towards Luke, and I'm like, why is there not animosity here? Because the supposed trigger for Justin's Voldemort's animosity towards Luke is that Luke was like, yeah, we're not going to have you part of Gary Con. We're not going to, and
Well,
so this predates that, and I think it's actually poison from Ernie. I think it's Justin.
It is. But looking at the transcripts that Michael released, Tom, keep in mind, even Michael admits or Justin, admits the original TSR Con was going to be held in July of 2022. Okay? That's the original TSR Con. Justin, like I said in the very beginning to you both, before this thing was released, Justin changed it to March the same weekend because Justin's mind, all the community would flock to Horticulture Hall where it all began. And it's just this, and Ernie is like gobbling this up and gobbling it up. And, then you got Duck gobbling it all up, using the excuse that he lost the reason why I'm still here is because I lost my Social Security. Okay, you got your Social Security back, Duck. Now are you going to tell Voldemort to go F himself? And are you going to do the right thing and get away from that place? No. Watch.
Well, the other story I'm pursuing and investigating is that there's a persistent rumor that it was actually Voldemort who called and got him bounced from disability.
It was.
Oh, that's nasty.
I have it in Discord. Justin talks about it. I have the convo.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, I'll have to get with you.
I have the
so much
convo.
I've been investigating and picking at. It's one of the threads I pick at.
Yeah. Like Justin bragged about it. I'm just going to use the word Justin. We've used it so much already. Eric doesn't have to, but I'm going to because it's going to keep a thing because I'm going to keep saying it inadvertently.
I'm going to keep trying to say Voldemort for Eric's sake.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not going to say nothing. How about that?
Yeah. How about that? But the whole point being is this is my whole thing. There has been a level of duplicity here and horrible things happening here that I have quietly worked in the background, and you two will, I'm sure, validate this. For those of you who don't know, I very early on started helping out and feeding info.
Yep.
I'll admit it.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who released, I'll say it flat blunt for the record. I'm the guy who did the initial Star Frontiers New Genesis release. The here you go, guys. There it is.
That ugly
But I also have to back me up. I have the email communication where Dave Johnson sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I've shown you guys that. So everything I claim, I've always backed up with validatable proof.
Well, on that point, I want to say two things. I was getting really pissed off. I'm like, where the hell is Eric getting all this good information? Number one, when you were feeding him information. But number two, the text message dump that Hovermail did in there in August, I believe, Justin said, I want Star Frontiers the New Frontier.
August 2021.
He said, I want it to have this. And you know what? I'm looking at it going, this is what I reported. I was not on the outs with Justin and Hovermail yet at that point. I was just a Star Frontiers fan digging. I says, based off of their character sheet, based off of the art that they have posted on their website, I did a video and I reported what they were going to do. And those mother effers trolled me, and they trolled my daughter and on Facebook. And I was like, what the hell is this? Why am I getting... And everything I said was correct. Everything I said in my video was correct, 100%.
Because it's the truth. Because it's the truth. It's the truth. There's where it's at. And that's the thing. There's been so many lies told by Lanasa and company. They've tried to cover up, and they lie because they cover up to lie. And even the best liar in the world is going to get it wrong eventually. And that's exactly what has happened. And then they get called on it, and their response is Photoshop lies. I didn't say that.
Well, the other thing we have discussed, and maybe you guys would like to comment on it, is that what has been revealed in this data dump. And again, I'm only on page 90 of that 250-page document.
Oh, wow.
So I'm only a lightweight in reading my way through it. It is a chore to read through it. I just want to say that. I'm taking one for the community by reading that friggin' document all the way through. But early on in 2021, Justin said the plan is, this is the plan. TSR is to be sacrificed. The real play is OSR Games. What have we seen? They're rebranding everything, all the assets as OSR Games. That they wanted TSR to be attacked by WotC, and they were going to sacrifice TSR. So this bankruptcy was part of the plan from the beginning. The evidence is right there in the data dump that Hovermail did. Justin, send him a thank you card.
Well, there's another thing too. There is Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum and TSR are one and the same. They are not to be regarded as separate entities, but they are separate because TSR, you have to protect Dungeon Hobby Shop from what's going to be the death of TSR, so they must be separate entities. Because when Duck is talking, is being quoted by one of the individuals, Duck is being quoted that him and Ernie want to trade their shares, and Duck is going to, I guess, take over Ernie's 24% in the Dungeon Hobby Shop, and it's like they can't even. That doesn't matter what your shares are if it's in Dungeon Hobby Shop or TSR. It's all the same.
But speaking of that, 3 different things kind of tie into this issue. Remember that text message string I released publicly where it says Justin thinks $100 million is the price for the trademarks? Keep in mind, he says something further down it, and I'm going to quote. He says, dude, WotC will probably offer to buy in the end. $100 million is price. Fuck them. I went, that might be a possibility. Ha, ha, ha. He then says, I have a feeling it will be. Now here comes the OSR thing. I also have a plan. If they stop Star Frontiers because of name that was once their alt name, and OSR Games is my backup.
Yeah.
So not only was he trademark squatting, he was actually preparing for this eventuality. But mentioning the shares, I remember back in December, Justin offering me if I became his full-time printer and designer and everything through Wizard Tower was licensed through TSR. One of the things that he would do is he would offer me shares. And it was a video call with me, Michael, and Justin. And I remember I said, well, the problem is how many shares are there and what are they worth and everything, because it's a single member LLC. And Justin goes, well, Duck and Ernie will give up a section of their shares for you. And I remember typing to Michael in Discord, because we were on Discord while it was going on, and I typed to Michael, I was like, what the fuck? He's expecting Ernie and Duck to give up their shares, and Michael's like, I have no clue. That's kind of what he promised me too. So this share thing has been a thing that Justin has used before on people.
Interesting.
And then you get further into it, and you start taking a look at the conversation where there was Duck, Ernie, Michael, and Justin, where Ernie talks about investing money into the, yeah, exactly. He talked about investing money into the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum, and then Duck mentioned investing money from the sale of his parents' house.
Uh-huh.
So they have money invested in this because it's validated. Because then you get into, and this is the sick part about it all is, then you get into the September 7th, 2021 image, and I can't share my screen or I would, where Ernie Gygax is showing a photo of him and Duck outside the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum, proudly with their hands on the sign, and there's the press there. And Ernie goes, high school gaming friends, as well as members of the orchestra. Jeff Duck Leeson and Ernie Tensor Gygax, 2 of 3 partners in the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum, liked by Michael K. Hovermail, Justin Lanasa, and 74 other people.
Wow.
So this isn't just an arbitrary claim that someone threw out there and there's no proof. What?
I'm just waiting.
Oh, this is a validated, this is a hardcore validated thing by not only Duck and Ernie. It is Ernie validating it to the press on his social media. He's reported it to the press because I reached out to the Lake Geneva Chamber of Commerce. And I asked them, when this event happened and you guys had your ribbon cutting ceremony, was there a mention of partners? And they told me that yes, that there was Mr. Leeson, Mr. Gygax, and Mr. Voldemort were partners in the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum. Okay, so follow it down the wormhole a little bit deeper. Let's say Lanasa is not lying in his hearing. He's the sole owner now. Okay, how did Leeson and Ernie then buy their shares back? How did they get the money back for what they invested in it? They didn't. So this is all going to be, well, it's already been. It's already been outed. And the powers that be have this, and we'll just see how it rolls.
Because Voldemort brags in the data dump that it's 52%. He owns 52%.
Yes.
But it's only a handshake deal. It's not in writing. So then he does the whole evil laugh in the text. You know,
yep.
Oh mine. So he brags that he's going to screw them over. They have
another way. That's another form of validating all of the rest of it.
Yeah.
I knew there was something here, and it's why I've been digging at it. And I've asked Michael. I says, "Hey, you have this recording? I heard you've had this recording." And he has been like, no, yeah, I deleted it. I don't have it. And so, Michael has, chosen to screw me over.
Well, in all fairness, I've asked Michael for that video myself, and he's indicated that he either doesn't have it or that it's been corrupted or it's buried in Blu-rays. So I've never been given a copy of it also. I think that if this copy exists, this could be the one thing that just, I think already it's very validatable that Ernie and Duck have some type of monetary connection to this. I think they're being very quiet about it because they still have this weird, it's a weird childish attachment to 723 William Street.
Well, they don't have it in writing, so they have to trust his word and his handshake that he's
that makes you even more dependent, right? You can't afford to piss somebody off because if you do, you lose your investment. Because
on top of that, when the woke haters call and get your disability canceled on you, makes you even more dependent because you live at the Dungeon Hobby Shop. But the truth is it wasn't the woke haters. It was
Lanasa.
It was Voldemort who called and he bragged about it, doing that, and screwed you over. And
the thing is, he knows. The thing is, this is the whole sick part. Duck knows this. Duck knows he did that. He was told this. And on top of that, just like with Lanasa bragging about having, keyloggers on Duck's computer, being able to watch all of his emails and everything, Duck was told this.
Yep.
Duck acknowledged saying, I know this is all fact, but I'm just holding out because one day I want to own the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum. He's got in his mind that when all this goes, he's going to put a GoFundMe up and people are going to buy the museum for him. He's going to be able to run it. And that's not how this is going to work. If it is seized by the bankruptcy court, it is going up for auction. Period.
Right.
And they're not going to wait for Duck to say, well, can you guys hold off and give me 45 days so I can do my GoFundMe? No, they're going to submit an auction date and it's going to auction. And you're liable to find that house tore down and a freaking McDonald's or a Burger King put right there.
Mm.
That's the reality of what's going to happen here. This isn't going to end happily. This isn't going to end, Camelot's gone, folks. TSR is done.
Well, now, I mean, the name is dirt.
Yeah.
The name
Thank
is
you, Justin. Because of you, you destroyed whatever little bit of legacy was left there. That's why I'm very glad. I am so glad to see people like Luke Gygax and Heidi Gygax really stepping up and doing the right thing by their dad's name and putting out some good quality games and doing positive things for the community. I take my hat off to Heidi and Luke huge and the rest of the siblings.
I was just actually reading a it was one of my anonymous emails that was sent to me concerning Luke Gygax that excuse me, Don. It said Wizard Tower Games was sucking Luke's balls.
Oh yeah. Oh, doesn't surprise me a bit.
I know you've heard it all before. I shared it with you.
Doesn't bug me.
But, and it was criticizing him that the real heir to the Gygax legacy was Ernie, and that Gary Kahn was failing and losing. And I'm like, Gary Kahn's not failing. And honestly,
we're booming.
Yeah.
Ernie could build anything he wants to honor his father. He had a module. And somebody had to step. Erik, correct me if I'm wrong. I was who stepped in and saved that module, that Kickstarter from failing?
Oh, Troll Lord Games.
Troll Lord, yeah.
Yeah, and they're not making any money on it. They're losing a little bit of money. They white knighted.
All right, so this is my understanding. Okay, Troll Lord Games came in and they basically put the man hours in, the logistics in. The layout, they put the man hours in to get this completed. I believe now, all right, Ernie years ago showed me that they had a separate bank account for the monies for the memorial tomb, and they had spent some of it for stuff that was related to it, but my understanding is that even during, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due, even during Ernie's hospitalization, that money was not dipped into, like many others have dipped into this stuff or mingled it with their own monies. I'm not going to say names, Gareth the Hutt, but in any case. So when Troll Lord came in to White Knight or rescue this, there were, my understanding is, monies that were put aside by Gold Piece Productions / Ernie and Benoit to put toward producing the physical books. I don't know how much it was. I've heard rumors going different directions, so I'm not going to speak of that. But Troll Lord Games is hoping to make a profit both on the goodwill of the community and on sales of material going forward. But yeah, they put a lot of man hours.
So did they, Erik, did they have maybe a side agreement saying, if we back this and if we get this project on its feet and into production, we're going to have the right to do addendum products or expansions?
I believe so, but I can't verify, and I haven't.
That'd be smart of them to do that.
Yeah, but they certainly. I had been told that the monies needed, and this is from a major publisher within our community, that it would require $30,000 to $40,000 to get that project out the door. That wasn't man hours. that was the amount of money that would be needed to pay for the printing and all that other stuff. Man hours were not even considered in that number. So, this company, when approached, were like, yeah, we're not even interested. So, Troll War Games, God bless them. But then again, they were friends of Gary's. They did a lot of work with Gary back before he passed. So I'm sure, their heart was in the right place.
Well, Troll Lord Games, in all fairness, Troll Lord Games was pretty much. I mean, there's photos. I saw a photo today of Gary Gygax behind a table at some convention, and Troll Lord Games' sign was some type of hand-done cardboard sign. So they've been together since back in the day when Troll Lord was literally probably, hey, we got some printers in the garage, we can print some stuff on, and let's get some photo. So yeah.
I will probably buy that module simply not because of Ernie's name being attached to it, but because Troll Lord has done the right thing for the Gygax legacy, which has nothing to do with Ernie Jr. But my point in all of this, and why I tossed the ball to you, Erik, was that Troll Lord Games has actually done the right thing. I mean, Ernie did the right thing by not spending the money.
Right. It made it salvageable in the end. But again, if you ask me, did all the leftover monies go toward finishing a project, or was just the money toward printing? I don't know the details. So I've heard rumors going in different directions on this one. All I know is at least some of the monies that were left over went toward completing the project. At least some. Don't know how much.
So I want to point out this comment from local 433 Gumby, who I don't know who this person is, but they're saying, support those who help the community. Amen, brother.
Yep.
I want to say amen on that one. So yeah, definitely. So I think I will support that with a purchase, and but sadly, Ernie himself could have built something that would be a testament to his father. And this memorial tomb is just not going to be that, because he's not built anything. He didn't put in the work, man hours. Benoit did. Ernie just wants to sit back and be the kind of guy who sits back and doesn't have to do any work.
But did you read that in the data dump?
Not specifically.
Okay, there was a complaint where Jeff Leeson is complaining about Ernie.
Yeah.
Ernie just wants to sit back and relish in his share, and doesn't want to, because they wanted Ernie to edit, and Ernie didn't want to edit. So then they're like, well, Doug, you got to edit. And Doug's like, hey, I'm already working at the museum, and now I got to edit, and Ernie ain't doing shit. And the commenting is like, oh, there's some jealousy going on. That's jealousy. That's what the fuck.
Inequity.
That's inequity.
And there's a simple fact here regarding Ernie and Doug. As of today, they both have a chance to salvage this on their own level. And what I mean by that is people like Jeff Leeson has the ability as of now. He's got his disability back, thankfully. Glad to hear it. All the good things that come along with that back end are happening for him. Great to hear it. I would go to my death supporting Jeff Leeson, if he did the right thing. And the right thing in this case is simply he says, listen, I don't support this shit. He says it privately, but he doesn't do it publicly.
Right.
And, sadly, this is, and this is the whole sad part about it is, and this is the brainwashing that Voldemort has engaged with these guys and these women, is that this is not going to end like Leeson thinks. Leeson is not going to one day be handed the keys to the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum, say, congratulations, you are now the owner and you can run this as you please.
You've earned it. You paid your dues.
Yeah.
No.
Not going to happen. In fact, what I'm really scared about, and this really worries me.
Not paying your dues.
Well, this is what worries me, is Lanasa has already exhibited the propensity that when he's backed into the corner, he will turn on anybody.
Yes.
And what I am really worried about is whatever reputation that Ernie Gygax has left and Jeff Leeson has left can very easily be tanked by Lanasa if he goes ahead and he starts pointing the right fingers. Even though they may be a lie, and even though maybe they can't be proven, the point is, just like what he did with me, you're going to prison, Don. You're going to go ahead and you're going to, there's criminal charges pending against you right now. He throws it out there, seeing what will stick. Well, you know what? There's a criminal warrants for my arrest. I've been sitting here for several days now since that hearing, and nobody's knocked on my door.
Does that make you the Teflon Don?
I guess so.
I'm just saying. It's like,
yeah,
I'm thinking it, and I'm like, I gotta say it. Come on.
But that's what he does. Just like like what he does when Tim Kask made him mad. He said, Tim Kask got fired for stealing. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Same thing with you, Erik. You weren't really in internal affairs. Yeah, you were.
Surprise!
It's just this nonsensical BS. But the problem is this: I don't think Duck has the, and I hate to put it this way, but I don't think Duck has the balls to stand up and go, "Oh no, you son of a bitch! You're not saying that about me." I think that Lanasa knows him well because Lanasa said it to me before. I have it in phone chat. I have it in audio, our video calls I've recorded, where he laughs about the fact that he can get Leeson to cry because he gets him so worked up. And it's like, that's nothing to be proud of.
That's disgusting.
That's not to bring a man down like that's not funny, man. That's nothing to.
About control. It's all about control.
What have I said to I know the two of you? Well, I'll say to the four, including Hovermail. What have I said repeatedly concerning Lanasa? He has low cunning.
Yes.
And he knows how to read a broken person.
Yep.
And he knows where to stick his finger on the thing that he might get the most pain.
Okay.
And he's actually done this with me. I'll just say, hey, he's called me Tommy. That's what my mother called me. It irritates me. It only guarantees I'm going to do another video about the SOB. So, Justin, if you're listening, go ahead. Call me Tommy again.
Well,
you called me. But
see, Tommy, just so you know, there's a reason why the three of us are in this video right now and someone else isn't. Because you can't, the buttons on the three of us don't work, right? You can't manipulate. I mean, that's why these three people are on your screen. And by the way, one of these people will be dropping off shortly because I got another live stream in 40 minutes.
I know.
But
it blows my mind the responsibility I have to this community.
But a question has been asked of me that I think I want to clarify real quick right here.
Yeah.
I have been asked a million times, Don, then tell me this. How as Lanasa, not Lanasa, like I forget who, someone made a snarky comment about the fact of, then how come you fell for Lanasa's BS? I can very easily tell you, because when I first talked to Lanasa on the phone, it's the same with everybody. He's the most gracious, nicest guy. I did not Google him. I didn't know about the grits wrestling. I didn't know about his failed anything. I just sent an email saying, hey, TSR's back. You want to go ahead and be a part of a convention we're organizing? And it was like, hell yes, we're going to do this. I'll bring Larry Elmore with me. I'll bring, the 3D modeling guys with me from Holland. And he just inundates you with this, and then he talks to you. And as you talk, he'll grab onto little things that he views that are important to you, and he manipulates them, and he talks about them in a positive way, but I can make it happen for you too. And yes, I was a dumbass. I fell for it. But very quickly, you say something one week in a chat, and then next week you're talking about it, and it's different. And that's how he's outed.
Yes. And I'll say the same thing for me. He contacted Tom Stevens, who was the editor of the Frontier Explorer at the time, and he didn't like the answer because Tom Stevens was like, show me that you have the right to produce you have a license from Wizards of the Coast. and because Tom Stevens has a contact at Wizards of the Coast, and he couldn't do that, and so he got pissed. And so then I'm talking with Hovermail, and I'm getting Larry Elmore. And I'm thinking like I'm stars in my eyes because I supported the Larry Elmore Kickstarter to do, put all his art into a hardcover book. I have the hardcover book here in the house. And I'm like stars in my eyes thinking like I could be working on Star Frontiers 2.0 with a Larry Elmore cover. And I'm like, I'm stars in my eyes, starstruck over that until one too many times I get lied to by Hovermail. And so I just contact Larry Elmore, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He goes, there's nothing going on between me and TSR. And he totally outs the lie. And so I report on that, and then Hovermail's all like, bullshit, like you betrayed me. You revealed private. Fuck you. You lied to me.
Yeah.
You lied to me. And I live in a state where, look, your word, and again, this is why I hung up. I ended the phone conversation with you when I was trying to get information out of you on Lanassa. I was like, no, I feel like he's a straight shooter. I cannot run a scam on him to get information. I just can't do it. I cannot bring myself to do it. And that's why I ended a conversation. And that went nowhere because I just couldn't bring myself to be a shitbag.
Yeah. Because you have integrity.
God, y'all have integrity.
Integrity fault.
I have a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's just a very simple thing, and I think it's 7:24. Eric's got a live happening in 30 minutes. I'll just put this in context. The bottom line is this: is that when we're giving information in a 4-way, and then we all start getting anonymous emails mentioning exactly what we're talking about. Sorry.
Somebody's feeding it, and I'll tell you, it's nobody that's on the screen right now.
Yeah, because this is the interesting part. Eric, you've said things privately to him. You have, Tom, and so have I, and we get anonymous emails about that. And I there's just no excuse for it. There's no excuse. There's no computers were not hacked. Nothing like that happened. It's an information chain is what's going on. And I'm sorry. I just do not appreciate it. And the thing is, I'm a very forgiving person. People fuck up. It happens. People make really shitty mistakes. It happens. Lord knows I have made shitty mistakes in my life. I have done things in my life in my past that I am ashamed of, but I own up to them. I am man enough to say, yes, that is me. Please forgive me. I am wrong. But that doesn't happen here. It's double down. It's incredulous. How dare you? How dare you? It's like, whoa, wait a minute here. What do you mean, how dare me? All I did was trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's where to me, the point of enough's enough. Enough is enough.
So I just want to say that my experience of dealing with Don Samora over the past 2 years is that he is a man of integrity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I know that he has shelled out a lot of money in legal expenses.
Mm-hmm.
He's paid for a federal handwriting expert to look at the NDA. Two of them to validate or invalidate the NDA that was submitted to the WotC case. He has shelled out and he has hung tough in the face of intense witness harassment, witness tampering on the part of Voldemort. And it's just been despicable. And he, a lesser man would have folded, been like, this is not worth it. I'm not putting the money into this. He has put the money into this, and that's why I have been a supporter, and I have backed him. And I think Erik could probably say the same. So I'm gonna pass this off to Erik, but I also want to invite the two of you to say, what are you working on? What is Tenkar's Tavern working on next? And what is Vlog of Many Things? So as I pass this off and we go round robin around the screen, go ahead, Erik.
Well, listen, I'm going to say simply about Don. I am honored to be considered Don's friend, and honestly, couldn't have asked for somebody to walk this walk with me. The three faces you're seeing on the screen, we're all walking the walk. We're all taking the flack, and honestly, I couldn't ask for better compatriots than this. As for what I'm doing, way too many fucking live streams. Just gonna say that Wednesday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, and I got a feeling that this little gathering is going to be something that like transfers through our 3 channels, and maybe we start doing something semi-regular.
I like that.
Dare I say that? But at some point, once the OGL 1.1 bullshit finally determines what's happening with the older SRD, if the initial SRD, if the 3.5 SRD gets released under Creative Commons, we'll start back up with Continua Light, which is already laid out and ready to go, but is now in limbo land, and there'll be left distractions with all these fucking live streams. I know, I blew up we were doing good, no cursing, and then of course, New Yorker had to get on the screen and blabber.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, Rach, you can say that. You can say something.
I'm so happy that you had the personal strength of fortitude to be able to break out of the trap that were laid for you in that situation. You know, it was a lot.
It was.
And you see it for the other people that are still caught in them. You know, person number 4 still caught in that trap, you know, and all these other people that we're concerned for in the hobby. And I'm just so thankful that you were able to break free from that, and that you're able to be a part of what we're all doing.
We love it.
To whatever degree we're doing it. I'm not doing it much.
Dave Flo, we love you.
We gotta make a list.
Listen. You misspell your own name apparently. All right, that's all I'm saying. Okay. So David Flo, you're on my personal list. Okay. Oh, Floor. Whatever name you're going by now. Whatever you're on my personal list.
Well, wait a minute. I just want to say, if his name is Flo, then he probably is the author of a phrase called "Kiss My Grits."
Oh, that's an old school one.
I mean, that's old school. I know that's old.
We're old school.
You're not.
I remember that diner. We're dating ourselves. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Go ahead, Don. What's Don working on?
I guess the thing is with me is the thing that I will say about Erik and Tom is they have both demonstrated that they have integrity, and there's where it's at. Integrity is in very short supply with a lot of people online, sadly. And you know, without Erik and Tom, I'm gonna be blunt with you. I don't think I could have went through this bullshit, because you know, it is a lonely thing to have websites made about you, your kids attacked, you attacked, you know, right across the board. And you know, and behind Erik and Tom, you got Tammy and Rach, you know, right there with them, helping support and doing. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, when I was in the hospital, it was Rach and Tina on text with my wife, making sure my wife was okay, asking my wife when I was in the ER if there's anything they could help for her. So that's right there, the character of what you have with these people. So hats off to Erik and Tom, period.
Thank you.
And
I just want to say that what I've been working on is I did a card deck, and I just threw the idea over to Don, and he said, "Let me get you a contract." And so I've actually signed a contract with Don, to produce a game supplement for sci-fi gaming for Star Frontiers. If you're a Star Frontiers fan like I am, this might be something you're interested in. It'll be coming out, I don't know when, but I'm not worried about it because I trust Don, and he's been nothing but trustworthy with me. He's never been like, I'm going to steal your idea. I threw the idea at him. He says, let me get you a contract. And we signed it, and we've moved forward. And so that's what I've been working on. I'm working on other projects with Don. I've thrown him ideas, and he says, you know what? This wouldn't be a card deck. Why don't you write a book? I'm working on that. And so I've really appreciated that with Don. And so, we're a little bit incestuous that, we're communicating back and forth. But Don has been nothing but honorable with me. And, after my wife, I would take a bullet for him.
Thank you.
So,
well, as far as on our end, Wizard Tower Games, oh boy, nobody knows this. So I guess I'm just going to break it right here. Okay. Me and Tim Kask, as you all know, D20 Delving the board game, which is right now in production, finally. And along with that, me and Tim are working on another project. But there's also a third project me and Tim are working on, and that is, and this is with Luke Gygax's blessing, is we are going to be releasing a collector's edition game module from Gary Con 1 and 2 that Tim Kask wrote specifically for Gary Con 1 and 2. And we're going to be putting out a module and a limited edition hardcover version, full color, both in 1E and also 5E. And also in the hardcover will be, at the back will be the actual original typed out module, high resolution, put into the book, autographed, numbered, right across the board. And Luke Gygax has given us, with his graciousness, the permission to use Gary Con,
nice.
And such in it. So that is going to be put out here probably sometime in the fall.
oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yep. So that's like
holding out on me.
Yep. Had to keep it quiet because got to wait for permission. Can't really say too much until we actually have it in the bag. But
I understand.
I have the original modules I have from Gary Con 1 and Gary Con 2 that Tim wrote, and that's what is going to be in these limited edition. There's going to be a regular module, which is just going to be 1E, 5E translated. So you can build, if you have OSR, New Gamer, you can play it. But the limited edition hardcover, again, it'll be full color, including in the back the high-res scans of the original module, expanded artwork, notations, storyline, really, really nicely done. So
OMG.
That's what we got cooking.
So I shouldn't ask if this will be for sale at the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum's retail wing?
Probably not. I'm going out on a limb here.
They could probably rip the cover off and then put a new cover on.
That says OSR.
Yeah.
It says, I'm just spinning my wheels here, folks.
Where it will be available for sale, it's going to be on Amazon, legitimately done through Amazon. Along with that, it's going to be available in Barnes & Noble. So those are going to be the two major online stores, with Barnes & Noble being the brick and mortar. We already have a contract signed with Barnes & Noble. Wow. That's done deal. That's locked solid. And then also we're having a new website coming out here, hopefully any day now, which is going to be a greatly expanded website with everything. So, but I'm going to tell people watching this, and no, I'm not just saying this to say it. The two gentlemen up above me are top notch. You may not agree with their politics. You may not agree with some things they say, but they're top-notch people. They're top-notch, both two real men. They're men of their word. They have integrity. And like I said, that is in far, far short supply these days online. And yes, I will mention, by the way, real quick, I will mention people like Kim Winson and David Floor, and I will mention people like Scott Griffin, people like that. They have right along with this stood up, had the guts and the balls to go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to report it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been critical of me, and rightfully so, you know, but they've always been fair. There's where it's at. They've been critical, but they've been fair. And that, again, is hard to come by these days. So, you know, just a lot of people have been responsible, but these two guys above me, no. Erik and Tom are top notch, and as are their wives.
I just want to say today, I actually gave Don a critique today, and he took it well. And that's a sign of somebody I like to be friends with, that I can give them a critique and say, hey, I think you should have said this. I think you should have done this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't appreciate when you said this to me, you know, and he takes it well. And so I appreciate that. And I have the sense, you know, Erik and I haven't, well, actually we have, but, you know, I've been, it's the same thing with Erik. So I just appreciate these guys for their character as well. And I just want to say, thanks for watching the video. Thanks to the subscribers. If you've not subscribed, please do hit the like, subscribe.
Right there. Yeah.
Help me catch up to Erik. You know, he says I'm underrated.
He's underrated.
He's underrated. He's better rated than me. And, you know, Don's got to catch up. So next time we do this, let's do it on Don's channel to help build his channel a little bit.
Makes sense to me.
So, yeah, absolutely. And the third time around, we'll do it on maybe Erik's channel or something. But this was a great time, and I want to thank you guys, and I want to thank all of the people who contributed in the live chat. I tried to get your comments on there. I didn't always draw attention to them. I apologize for that. But I'm kind of new to this live stream thing. I don't have the cachet that Erik does. But again, thank you all for coming here. And Erik, Don, thanks for participating. And hey, GL Glazer, the most recent, Voldemort alt. You didn't show up, and we missed you.
No.
I was waiting for it. We seem not to have anybody show up here. I'm disappointed.
You know what? Maybe they overslept.
They're waiting for tomorrow.
Or 20 minutes to the. Well,
there's not a woman in here, so they'll wait for tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just there you go.
Rachel and I are ready for that.
It's gonna be on and popping.
All right. Good night, guys. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.